Bestes, das auch verständlich zu machen. Okay, you have some water? Okay, that's great. Let's just wait. Maxwell, Salzberg, welcome here at the co-funding conference.
Thanks for having me.
I just give a quick introduction on what diaspora actually is, so that everyone knows, and then I've got a couple of questions for you, and everyone in the audience who feels like coming up with questions, just do. We only have 15 minutes, but let's make the most out of it. So Diaspora is a decentralized open source social media network. And I guess it's built on two very strong cornerstones. First of all, your content belongs only to you and to no one else without any exception. And the second interesting thing is that it's quite transparent in terms of privacy settings, and those settings can be adjusted and changed very easily. What I've learned, the story of Diaspora and the way it evolved is quite spectacular. And this morning we talked about different crowdfunding projects here in Germany, and we ended up seeing that some of them got sort of overfinanced with maybe 120% or whatever, but you guys managed to become overfinanced 2,000% actually, which sounds great. It sounds really glamorous, but of course I'm really interested to hear what actually happened to you, because the project was presented at Kickstarter.com exactly 1 year ago, and you have reached your initial fundraising goal of $10,000 within 12 days, and in the following weeks, all of a sudden you ended up with more than $200,000. So how did you guys feel when all those people started to throw dollars on your direction without you even having published one single line of code?
I mean, it was terrifying, actually. Actually, we even, Raphael really wanted to turn it off, actually, just because it's kind of one of these things, like, we had a big, like, yelling argument the night before the project went live, whether we should ask for $8,000 or $10,000. We were actually, like, pretty unsure whether it would work or not. You know, we were kind of just, this is an experiment, so we could go hang out for the summer and just write code and not think about anything else. So, I mean, we basically, our budget was like, okay, we need money so we can eat ramen every day and, like, order a pizza once a week. So
exactly. So you originally you intended to do a prototype, I guess, right? Or what exactly did you ask this $10,000 for?
I mean, the $10,000 was for us to work on it full time for 4 months, and just like see where we could go. I mean, it's a hard problem, but we had actually been writing code since February, kind of just messing around. And then we decided if we could give it full-time sort of status for a little bit of time, that, you know, we think we could make a lot of progress, and we could just sort of kind of further explore the idea and release some code that maybe some other people could pick up and run with. And certainly when we made $200,000, obviously the expectations are much higher. But it also means we get to, you know, we've been working on it, still on that money, and haven't run out of it. Less than $200,000, because we actually had to buy like 6,000 T-shirts. But
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, obviously, you are four founders. You haven't been really prepared for that kind of success. I've seen the video that you put
sorry.
on. No, actually, I liked it a lot. Because I found it very, let's say, authentic, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the few
positives. It was this idea of four
think
people who really have ideals, who want to bring their idea forward, but who actually have no idea how they want to do it, and who really didn't tell exactly where they would want to end. But nonetheless, people, of course, they liked it a lot because they have seen immediately that it could turn into a great alternative to Facebook, or maybe it was a little bit this David versus Goliath effect. So how was it for you? Did you? I guess you had a point where you thought, hey, they don't really mean us as diaspora, but they all talk about Facebook. So what about our identity?
I mean, I think that we were sort of expecting that. I mean, we were very careful in our words to sort of say, like, look, we want to make, you know, we want to sort of be a positive thing. We want to, like, make something that doesn't exist. We really didn't use Facebook or say it really in anything. That was a lot of like the media kind of being like, oh, these kids are talking about anti-Facebook, and it's kind of like it's kind of crazy, right, to be compared when you're a bunch of kids who ask for $10,000 and you make 2,000% of $10,000, but then to be compared to like this is the anti-$50 billion company in $200,000. I mean it's hard to sort of set those expectations correctly. But I mean I think we were honest in saying like, look, we want to make this thing. We're gonna make it whether we get this money or not. Like you can just help us out if you want. And the only thing we can really promise is that we're just gonna make it better every week. So until it's really awesome. So that's all you can do as like one guy. And certainly we're gonna be building out our team now. And obviously it was this amazing kind of jump start into getting a hold into becoming a more real organization, really, that's going to continue to push diaspora development and innovation into the future. So.
Yeah, I guess this is a really interesting point, because we talk about open source software development, right? And this huge financial success framed your whole project, not anymore in the open source context, but rather in a startup context. So this brought you in a position where you haven't been before, and where you were actually forced to adjust your internal structures. I mean, if you had any to that point, completely, right?
No, yeah, and I think it was. I mean, I think it's actually really awesome, because I think there's not enough open source startups, and I think that obviously our success with crowdfunding has really allowed us some leverage to say, okay, we're going to build an open source business. Like, what we're doing is writing open source software every day, but clearly people want this. Clearly people are willing to give us money, just on the thought of it. And that means a lot. Like, I mean, like, to be able to prove that someone wants something in a sort of testable way is, I think, a really important thing, really just in promoting innovation and people doing new things online.
Did you also experience that people said, okay guys, you have enough money, but we'd love to help you out with coding or with marketing experience or whatever? So did you get people on board who try to help you on that side as well?
Yeah, I mean, we got so many emails that I couldn't look at my email for a good 3 weeks. Again, another thing we just weren't prepared for is just the influx of communication and attention. And I was graduating college and trying to do finals. So there's tons of people who wanted to help, but it's at this kind of thing of we knew what we wanted to do, which was just go go to a cabin in the woods and program. I mean, that was really all our plan was. So we kind of thought that people gave us money to do that. So to change from that core thing because we had a lot of money now seemed to not make that much sense to us. So I think we've been very cognizant about trying, not to do, obviously spend the money where it makes sense, where it decreases pain and increases our productivity, but not let it completely fundamentally change why we did it, because we were doing it because we were having fun. So even if it becomes a startup or whatnot, it's still got to be why we started it. And I think that's also another important thing about crowdfunding in general, is that it's funding people's passions. And I think successful projects, to me, in the past, are people who are honestly trying to do whatever they're trying to do, and they want to do it, and they'll do it whether they get the funding or not.
If we look back at this last year, because that's basically the time frame we are talking about, to what extent is the way you went until now different from the way if you would have had a traditional, let's say, venture capitalist or other investors who would have given you the money? You think you would have developed in a total different direction, or would you have reached the same point where you are now?
No, I definitely think it's opened up a lot of bizarre doors. I mean, that are very atypical. But I mean, the other thing that's kind of funny is people are really willing to give us free stuff. Whether that's free desks that we work, Pivotal Labs, which is an amazing Ruby consultancy, which I'm not beyond talking about them here, but they're this amazing place that they're hey, you guys sound like cool kids. You should just come work in our office, and we'll just buy you breakfast every morning. So, I mean, there's that kind of thing. Obviously, when we're trying to sort of raise more money and maybe a more traditional channel, it's a good story that they already know us before we kind of walk in the door. Obviously, because it's sort of like, look, that's really because of crowdsourcing. But yeah, I mean, I think that just like the exposure and just the idea that, I mean, diaspora fundamentally is kind of a grassroots thing, so it made a lot of sense to sort of have a grassroots way of funding it.
Yeah. Is there any comment or question from our audience? We have 5 minutes left. No? Oh, over here. Do we have a microphone over here?
Hi, Alex Schultz. Just one simple question. Where's the code now? Where's the project status at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's in active development. We're still working on it full time. We're kind of in a private alpha phase, but all the code is open source. It's on a website called GitHub, github.com/diaspora/diaspora. If you want to check out what we do, everything we do is completely public and open. The second we do it, we don't have a private repo or anything. We're planning on having probably a pretty big release in the next 6 months-ish. That's going to be more towards end users. We kind of have our small group of alpha testers. It's closed alpha right now just because it turns out you don't need that many people to tell you when you have bugs or something. So,
second question maybe. May I? Mark Zuckerberg is an investor, is that right? And what did he say to you guys? I mean, has he some influence of your code and of the results?
Yes, Mark Zuckerberg is one of our backers. They're donations, I guess. They're not investments. And we're very grateful for his generous donation, but he hasn't contacted us or anything. He didn't even want a T-shirt.
I guess you did a lot to help Kickstarter to really get international awareness as well. How is your relation to the Kickstarter people?
I mean, it's really good. They're really cool guys. One of the guys who started working there sort of right after actually this happened, I've known for a long time, but they're really cool. I mean, they're definitely. I mean, I had never really heard of crowdfunding really before we sort of did it. So I know you were saying that it's new in Germany, but I think it's new in the U.S. too. I don't think, but and we definitely broke every part of Kickstarter in our project. Like everything broke. Whenever we sent an email, it crashed Kickstarter server. So.
Maxwell, before we come to a close, I just want to ask you to give us maybe an advice or something that for you was really a primary learning of your diaspora story. What would you like to share with our audience?
About crowdfunding or just
about what you have learned, what was most striking for you, and what would you like to pass on to everyone else who thinks of getting a project funded on a crowdfunding platform?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is, you have to be passionate about what you're crowdfunding. I think that comes out, and and I think it does come down to like, yes, it could be a great way to jumpstart this. It can be great ways to jumpstart, I guess, like some sort of business or whatnot. But I think it has to be really derived from something that you care about, and you just have to make sure that in your pitch that it really comes out that this is something that you're really passionate about, and this is something you're going to do whether you get the funding or not, and just prove to people that you're, I guess, an unstoppable force of doing something awesome. So.
Okay, thanks a lot, and we wish you all good success.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.